King Charles led the royals in Remembrance Sunday tributes yesterday, and a royal expert, Patricia Treble, is on hand and joins us from the UK for a special edition of this week's Royal Roundup. Patricia, good morning, or I guess good afternoon to you there in London. This is one of the most important dates on the royal calendar. What more can you tell us about yesterday's ceremony?
Yeah, so, I mean, really, this is a must-attend for all royals. So, just as we have our Remembrance Day on the 11th, they always have it on the second Sunday of the month. And so in Britain, it was yesterday. And it's an incredible experience because the entire country just basically stops at 11 o'clock. There are parades and everything like that. And of course, the big one in London, as you mentioned, the king leading the nation, he puts the wreath down on behalf of the nation, while all the other royals are there. And there's an absolutely massive attendance by veterans. And of course, as we see in Canada, the dwindling number of Second World War veterans, and they get the front spots for this event.
We saw Prince George make a surprise appearance at a Remembrance Day event last week, and he seems to be following in his father's footsteps, who was the same age when he attended a similar event.
Exactly. So there's a whole week leading up to Remembrance Sunday, and this was actually on Saturday night. So it's the Festival Remembrance. They've held it for like 80 years or something like that. And George accompanied his mum because his dad was flying back from Brazil. And this is the perfect opportunity for him. His father has said how much George really likes history. He was talking with veterans at the 80th anniversary of the end of VE Day back in May. And so this is the perfect opportunity to slowly get him into these sort of set pieces that he is going to be attending basically for the rest of his life.
All right. Well, meantime, after a quick tour of Canada, where he spent some time, as we know, with veterans, Harry has now returned to L.A. He and Meghan, we were just talking about this a second ago, Patricia, they were spotted at the 70th birthday party for Kris Jenner this weekend.
Yeah, so 007 theme, right, as you mentioned. I mean, he looked pretty good in a tux, I'm going to say. He's very nice tux. Meghan, of course, looking beautiful in just all black. It was a little bit of a dichotomy, of course. I mean, he was wearing the Canadian maple leaf, the Canadian poppy, but the compare and contrast was really quite sharp with the rest of his family at Remembrance Day services. He didn't look, I'm going to say, I've looked at a lot of pictures. I didn't see him cracking a smile. So I've got to wonder if this is kind of his sort of big bash, or it was more he was accompanying his wife.
Okay. All right. Speaking of his wife, 8 years after leaving Suits, we've learned last week that Meghan has returned to acting. What more do we know about the project, and is this return permanent?
Yeah, so we don't know if it's permanent. It's a cameo. She's going to be playing herself. It's in an Amazon film. It's going to be starring Lily Collins and Brie Larson. And we really know nothing about it. It was just kind of a few images of her on set. So we'll find out. But I mean, boy, she's had quite a year. I mean, Meghan, she's a podcaster. She's got her own TV show, her lifestyle show. She launched her own brand, and now back into acting. I think this is not going to mark a full return to it. I think she's going to kind of dip in and dip out and take those roles that are really important for her.
All right. Well, meantime, I think this could be the subject of a movie for sure, because one of the biggest mysteries involving royal jewels has been solved. Now, Patricia, this dates back all the way to 1919, and it's got a Canadian connection.
It's got an amazing Canadian connection. Okay, so I'm going to simplify this dramatically. So the giant, incredibly powerful Austro-Hungarian Empire collapsed at the end of the First World War, and a whole bunch of imperial jewels simply vanished, and everyone wondered what had happened to them. One of them is a diamond. It's called the Florentine diamond. It's 137 carats. It's the size of a plum. And everyone thought maybe they'd been stolen, maybe they had been sold quietly, maybe they had been recut. I mean, there are movies written about this. It turns out they're actually in Canada. They've been in Canada since the Second World War. So Empress Zita, who was the last empress of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and her family fled the Nazis. They ended up in Quebec during the Second World War, and she put them in a bank vault. And there they have stayed. She swore only 2 of her sons to the knowledge of what she had done. They then passed it on to their 2 sons. And now finally, they have been authenticated. They have been seen. And to say thank you, the Habsburg family, who own them, are saying that they're going to be putting them on display in Canada to say thank you to Canada. And I'm going to be honest, I am volunteering to be the TMS correspondent to go to that exhibit.
I was just going to say, if this is one exhibit Treble will not miss.
Absolutely.
All right, Patricia, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, off to the tower.
Off to, oh gosh, good luck. Good luck.